Om Partaya Pratibodhina Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Puranam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadasādhyayini Ambatvamanusandadam Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini.
Swamiji, I was listening more today because I just come out for something. So yes. I informed Amma also. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Dhriti. You have to start with Dhriti.
Yeah.
Dhriti is generally translated as fortitude. But here Shankara is more explicit. He says that when body and sense organs are tired or in pain due to illness or age or some defect, the attitude that makes you not mind the pain is what we call Dhriti. Even though there is pain, there is a capacity to help happily put up with it, not yielding to expressions of complaint.
Yeah. Very, very true. Since you can demonstrate yourself, you will find it so very uplifting, So you do that, find it so very uplifting to do that. Since that tells you that the body is an instrument in your control. It's not that you are overwhelmed by that. It's all very, in the sense it's possible. All of us go through such moments. We are able to, you must remember at the right time, the presence of mind should be there. Where you should bring in whatever you have learned and apply it. Right? Meaning, just be that way. That's all. Then it will grow on you. Once you do it, second time you do it, third time it will automatic. Thereafter it will be automatic. So that is very important. Yeah.
Swamiji, you told us that after you came back from Rishikesh, you had stomach pain. And
for 3-4 days running.
You mentioned that you have just overlook it, then things will be fine. Actually, after that, I had some pain. Okay, so I tried to do that. That it was, what shall I say? It was a very momentary feeling. That when I tried to overlook, the pain. I tried to overlook the pain. It was very momentary. Some few seconds. Then again, I start feeling the pain. I tried it. I was trying it.
No, the pain will be there. Pain will not go. But
no, my feeling the pain, I'm saying.
My feeling in the sense, feeling the pain also will be there. What is not important, what is important is, but you getting overwhelmed by that. In the sense, immediately you feel, no, I must go to the doctor. I must take some injection. That should not be that reactive. That is called reactive approach.
Okay.
It should not be. You must,
I
pain is there. And just allow it to go, if it subsides. Otherwise, take a small hand medicine, kashayam or something like that, hot water or something like that. Slowly, step by step, appreciate it and do something about it in a mild way. Not immediately reactive way, immediately going for a pill, going to the doctor and all that. Slowly, if you do that, that gives you to the sense you are doing something about it responsibly, you are being empathetic, you are being considerate to your own body. At the same time, that you are being considerate, you are aware of.
Okay.
Very important. That you are being considerate to your body, like your son or your daughter, how you are considerate. You will be considerate, but you will not jump. You know that you have to do something about it. You will not get so very emotionally involved that you won't be able to attend to the kid. Somebody else has to attend to both of you. That should not happen. So that is precisely awarenessful living. That is what, once we start doing that, mostly for Indian culture, it is there. It's always
we don't
medicine,
the doctor.
Ayurvedam and all, it always takes time. It doesn't go easily. But we are used to that sort of an endurance. That is why we are patronizing Ayurveda, homeopathy and all that. Westerners, they don't have the patience. That is why any pandemic, they only panicked much more than Indians. That is why we came out on top. It's all very natural, but we have to harness it. We should not lose that. And that is all. It is only one example. The Dhriti is there. The same way everything else, every other value is like that only. We are not being reactive and being very alert to the situation, have that distance, that space between you and the disease, you and the situation, you and a so-called problem, all that, no, that space gives you a lot of, the space is very, very vital in the sense what they say, the being, which I have told also before, the sense the being is Anuron Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan, has got that power. You don't know it, very, very powerful it is. But you have to harness it. You have to make it part of your life, that awareful being. Then you will find that you are growing on top of the situation, growing on top. So you are bigger than what you are, physically contrived, economically contrived. Whatever you are, you will grow beyond that. That is called Vilasa Buddhi. Then you will be the contributory person. Then your life will feel fulfilled. That is how it, because that is, you grow beyond what you have come with. That is precisely what you are supposed to evolve. That is called evolution. Only human being is possible. That is what, yeah.
Saucha. Cleanliness is of two kinds, inner and outer. External cleanliness means keeping the body, clothing, and the environment clean. This is an important discipline because it helps create a healthy frame of mind. Inner cleanliness is a mental disposition that is the opposite of one assailed by emotions like hatred and so on. Whenever these disturbing emotions are detected, they are replaced by their opposite. If there is enmity, we replace it with understanding and, if possible, friendliness. If there is hatred, we analyze what is it that is hated, and try to understand it. If the understanding is complete, love or compassion will naturally arise. If it is not, we deliberately introduce these emotions, shifting our attention to what is lovable about the person or why he or she is deserving of compassion. We have to look into our own mind and, as these emotions arise, create the opposite attitude, Pratipaksha Bhavana, and thereby develop a mind which is dominantly sattva. Other important ways of bringing about inner cleanliness are daily prayers, japa, and meditation. These are all cleansing acts because there is surrender involved. Anything the mind might have gathered is dropped in prayer. What sorts of things does the mind pick up that it needs to be freed from? Shankara lists deceit and being under the spell of likes and dislikes. Having likes and dislikes is not a problem, but when under their spell, we act against dharma. If our likes and dislikes happen to correspond with right and wrong, we are totally free. If we go against dharma to fulfill likes and dislikes, we are constrained to say that the person is under the spell of ragadveshas. This is impurity, and it has to be cleansed by prayer and pratipaksha bhavana.
Yeah, all the time. We have discussed, all this we have discussed.
Adroha is the absence of hurting. Since we have already discussed ahimsa and have defined it as the absence of any harmful action, adroha is to be taken as the absence of even a thought of hurting another. The word ahimsa can itself include absence of even thoughts of hurting, even thoughts of hurting, if there is no special mention of another word like adroha. But since adroha is cited separately, the meaning of ahimsa is restricted to the absence of oral and physical actions of hurting. With adroha, the harmful thought is also dismissed. When there is not even a desire to hurt another, that is adroha.
Na atimanita.
Not
It is something like amanitvam only. We have discussed this before. Na atimanita. Atimanita means manita is okay. You must have some self-respect in life. All of us, for whatever we are doing good things, we need some self-respect. But we should not get so very bugged that even at the sight of a sneeze from somebody else, you should not think that he is frowning at you. He may be just trying to sneeze, but it looks like a frown on his face, so you think that he is disrespecting you. That sort of so much atimanita should not be there. That's what he says.
Atimanita is pretentiousness with a demand for respect. Certain amount of manita, self-respect, is necessary in order to be together as a person. It is healthy. Otherwise, you will undermine yourself with self-criticism. Atimanita, pretentiousness, demanding respect from others, is what is negated here. It is an excess of manita. The absence of this attitude is natimanita.
Correct,
Natimanita.
Natimanita.
It makes for just a simple person. All the virtues mentioned in these 3 verses, beginning from Avaya, are characteristics of the Devas. When human beings have them, they are said to have Daivi Sampat. If they die without the knowledge of the self, they will become Devas, but if they are exposed to Vedanta Pramana, they will definitely discover that they are free. Now Krishna begins a description of the Asuri Sampat. First briefly, then in detail. These characteristics are told here so that we know what to avoid. The idea is that in the avoidance of the negative, the positive is also cultivated.
Yeah, so the Devi Sampad, actually what he says, it's just characteristics of Devas, in the sense, evolved soul, that's all. Essentially does not mean Devas, because even in Keva Upanishad, Deva was Indra, Agni and all that, they didn't understand. They didn't understand Atma Jnanam or Brahma Jnanam, they had to be taught by Uma. Only when they are taught by Uma, they become real. This is Devas, Devi Sampad. Even though here Devi Sampad means belonging to Devas, generally it is told. It is not necessary that Devas are also only exalted soul because of the Punya Karma and all. So that is why he says, okay, if not anything, if you have not understood Atma Jnanam and all, even then, if you have this quality, at least you will become Devas. So that is just sort of an incentive. But that is not our objective of studying Gita. We don't want to become Deva and wait for another birth and all that. We want to make it here and now. Devi Sampad meaning good qualities which will help us to understand our reality by studying and Shravanam Mananam Vidyas. So that is our objective. Yeah.
Verse 4 Asuri Sampat Dambho Darpobhimanascha Krodapparushyameva cha Ajnanam cha Bijatasya Partha Sampattam Asurim. Partha, O Partha, Asurim Sampadam, to the wealth of an Asura, Abhijatasya, for the one who is born, Dambaha, hypocrisy with reference to Dharma, Darpaha, pride, Abhimanaha cha, tendency to demand respect, Krodaha, anger, Parushyam evacha, and indeed harshness, Ajnanam cha, and a lack of discrimination. Partha Arjuna.
See, the one thing you must know, even though when they discuss it, Amji also I think will tell somewhere, but what he says is, see, generally even with reference to a dharmic person and all that, it will come later also in 17th chapter also. What they are, since even it is not a question of an act of giving, an act of excellence, an act of doing a job very well. All these are good things. But when we are doing all this, when you have a sense of doing it to put down somebody else, trying to show it up and trying to take advantage of your situation, all that, no, that is also Asuri Sampad. In the sense, you may be doing something good, but your attitude towards it will be to put down somebody else and to make use or take advantage of that vibhuti and try to become somebody much more than what you deserve. All that also is Asuri Sampad. So, it is not, that is why Swamiji always used to say, corporate Asuras. You will have such a multi-million-dollar company, still you will like to gobble up one more company. You will not be satiated. If you ask them, no, this is part of the business. You have to keep growing, means you have to keep on putting down our small businesses. And then only we can create more jobs. All justifications can be given. But we must be alert to this. What is the attitude which drives us? Whether we are being greedy or whether we are developing this Asuri Sampat. That is precisely, otherwise we will think asuras meaning only doing bad things, only cutting down people and all that. Not necessary. Even while doing good things and while being productive, while being talented and all that, still asuri bhavana can come into our mind. That you have to be alert to that. We have to be alert to that, and no, in the sense we will give space for everybody, that equality, that equanimity, that there is a place for everyone. Everyone has to grow, everyone has to be all-inclusive approach, no? That has to be there, even with reference to businesses and kings and all that. That was not there. That is why the kings fell down. That is why big guys, all multi-million people and billion, all these Forbes list people, I have told also before, there was an article, for top 50 Forbes people, they all either died penniless, bankrupt, or they committed suicide. That is, so 1925 or sometime 1925 or 1925, the list of Forbes top 50 guys, and the 50 years down the line, 1975, they analyzed what happened to them. There was an article, and they found that most of them either died penniless, or they were corrupt, they were put in jail, or they committed suicide, or they were ruined, basically. They were unattended towards the last years. Why? Because of this sort of a thing. In the sense, when you grow, no, you become too very avaricious and try to do anything. Because not only people who do, if somebody does not have money and if he is robbing a meal from somebody else, that is understandable. But if having everything and still you want to rob, that is asuri sampat. That is what Swamiji will explain also, but we have to be, because what is practically applicable is only in those areas these days. Otherwise, we know we are not going to take the sword, and that also happens in America, and they'll take a gun and shoot everybody and all that. Here and at least normally people who are normal people, we are not asuras in that respect. But this sort of a thing can happen. That is what we have to avoid. That's what is going to happen. Yeah.
Partha Arjuna, the one who is born to the wealth of an asura, has hypocrisy with reference to dharma, pride, a tendency to demand respect, anger, harshness, and indeed a lack of discrimination. Asuri means that which belongs to an asura. All our literature is replete with the altercations between the devas and the asuras, who, as you can see now, represent our internal conflicts. Everybody enjoys the qualities of a deva to an extent. Absence of hurting, compassion, love, and so on are all very natural, at least towards oneself under certain circumstances. And the qualities of an asura are also there. These two are always at loggerheads and are portrayed in our stories as battles between the devas and the asuras. Even if there is a person who seems to embody the qualities of an asura, it is not because he is bad, but because his thinking is wrong. All conflicts first happen within and then express themselves in the external world. Every war is first waged in the mind. If it cannot be resolved there, it expresses itself externally. With proper inquiry, these conflicts get resolved as they arise. We are not trying to avoid their occurrence, that is natural, but we resolve them within so that they do not find an external expression. If that resolving capacity is not there, or the people around do not help the resolution but inflame the conflict, a war erupts. The Mahabharata war could not be avoided only because of this Asuri Sampad. It is very pertinent for Lord Krishna to talk about Asuri Sampad here because it has brought the war that Arjuna is facing. All the problems are because of Duryodhana's thinking, which is here called Asuri Sampad. Here we must understand that there is no person who has only these qualities. Everyone has some measure of Daivi Sampad too. The Asuri Sampad is being detailed here only to understand what it is. Damba. Shankara says is hypocrisy with reference to dharma, dvajitva. Someone who has damba proclaims himself as one who follows dharma, doing noble actions not for the benefit of others but for his own recognition.
Beautiful, the word is very beautiful. Dvajitva means what? Dvajitva na kodi pidikkirathu. Dvajastambam we say, no? So, dharma dvajitva, meaning you are a great dharmi. You have that pride. So, even though you are a dharmi, you start celebrating like kodi pidikkirathu, then it is also asuri sampad. Just imagine. You must be so alert. You should not get into that sort of situation where you proclaim you are a dharmi and all that. Quietly do. In Tamil there is a saying, no? இடதுகை தெரியாமல் கொடுக்க வேண்டும் கர்ணவீரன் and all that. வலதுகை கொடுப்பதை இடதுகை தெரியாமல் கொடுப்பவன் கர்ணவீரன். So dharma you should not be proclaiming. That is what is called dvajitva. Dharma dvajitva should not be there. Yeah.
In giving charity, for instance, his motive is not charity, but to build up his own image. He is not giving charity, in fact, but investing money for self-promotion. Whether he has them or not, he proclaims his own glories. This quality in him, which makes him do that, is called damba.
Swamiji gives the example of ஒரு டியூப் லைட்டை கொடுத்துட்டு அதுக்கு டோனர் பேரு அந்த டோனர் பேரோட ப்ரொக்ளைம் பண்றதுக்கு உண்டான செலவு டியூப் லைட் செலவு கூட இருக்காது. See, that is typical Rotary Club mind. Swamiji used to say that.
Darpa is pride because of some knowledge or skill or some wealth, either inherited or earned, or perhaps because of being born in a good family, or any of a number of things. Not understanding all the factors responsible for what he has garva, pride. Atimana.
So darpa is same as garva.
Garva.
Darpa. Yeah, garva. That's what he said. Garva.
Pride.
Yeah.
Okay.
Atimana we have seen is an exaggerated opinion about oneself or demanding respect from others.
Yeah, the amanitvam, the manitvam. It's atimana. Yeah. Atmani pujyatva bhavana. That time he explained. Manitvam. See, the beauty is Atmani pujyatva bhavana. We tell Swamiji, Pujya Swamiji. Okay. See, Atmani pujyatva bhavana as because of your being a compassionate person and being a knowledgeable person who are able to be a great teacher and all the time being available for everyone with a smile and all that. So that is because the Atmani is the reality of Atma. The Amanitvam is ego. Atma, instead of taking as reality understanding, you take your body, mind, senses and your accomplishments and your pride, your money and all that as Atma. When that Atma over which you want respect, then only it becomes a problem. Atmani pujyatva bhavana is manitvam only when you are identifying with your personality, which is body, mind, senses and all its accomplishments, which is not reality. So it's already unreal and you are identifying with it. And over and above that, you are asking for respect. So it is destined to fail. That is why it is a wrong value. Manitvam is a wrong value. Whereas, if you understand Atma, the reality is the awareful being, Desakala Vastu Aparichinnam, then it will automatically become Pujyatam because it is complete in itself. And all your attitudes and all will be very much inclusive, everyone will help and all that, saintly person. So then he is really a Pujyatva, deserving Pujyatva. So then he becomes Pujya. So that is where exactly your Atma lies. That is where the key is. If your Atma is understood properly, then there is no problem. If your Atma is identified with the person, then that Atma is a danger. Then you need all these values to pull it down to relatively tranquil mind so that you can study and understand what is your reality. And now we are talking about the qualities, whereas we can pull down the ego to its reasonable level so that we will not overdo it, overplay it. We'll have that space by relative understanding of the Gita and all that we will understand. No, all this my life, whatever I am talking about, my body, my mind, senses, accomplishments, my family, position, etc., etc. It's not real. The Shastra says, Gita says, I know they are all only as a person, as part of the role play. My reality is different. I want to understand that. So I have to ensure that I don't overplay all those things. Whatever I do and all that, I need a space. I have a relatively tranquil mind where I don't go overboard in terms of demanding respect, trying to win over others, trying to accumulate more, greediness, all those things becomes a negative value. So that you have to pull it down, so that you become relatively free in your mind, where you can study and understand your reality. So that is where the Atmatvam, where is the Atma? Your Atma lies where? Whether it is lying in your ego or in your reality. Because Atma, being Atma, it will, if you are ignorant, it will eliminate that ignorance also. If you are egotistic, it will eliminate that egotism also.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything. Because Atma is totally unconnected, asangaha. So, for knowing that and being, you have to employ your mind. You have to employ your mind, even though mind is also transitory. You have to buddhi, you have to use the vikalpa, that is where viveka, vairagya, all those things in relative measure, you have to bring into your mind only. The mind which is transitory, you have to do it. That is where the trick is. That is why all these bhavana, the attitudes you have to develop deliberately. Pratipaksha bhavana, bring in the opposite. Because you know, even the same mind, what is dharma also you know, what is adharma also you know. And try to play down adharma, try to stick to dharma. It may be involving some pain also initially, because you find that dharma is not giving you pleasure. But you must know, pleasure is not important in life. Because I need to have a space inside for me to get back to my reality. For that, you must have a value for reality. That is why the teaching, the second chapter itself is told, what is your reality? And you must have a value for it. Unless you have a value for it, you will not become a karma yogi. That is why only a mumukshu, a person who wants to understand freedom as my reality, muktum michuhu, is called mumukshu. Muktum means freedom. Freedom means what? Internal freedom. That the freedom, the space, that the reality is pure and simple here and now. Everything else is only coming and going, personality, like a movie. That initial knowledge has to be there, and that value for that knowledge has to be there. Once you have that value, then it will allow it to grow. Then you will do whatever is needed to grow. For that, all these values are important. So, very important, like Hetu and Hetu, that's why I have explained also. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, that will happen, that Viveka alone, first Viveka has to be there. Then only you will be able to get a Vairaga will come. Viraga will come. So, but Viveka means you must know Nitya, Nitya, Vastu, Viveka. So what is reality, what is not? Apadata jnana, meaning initial understanding. What Gita is told in the second chapter, Bhagavad himself has told that first 20 verses, 211 to 230, you have to have a value for it. You must feel, this is what it is. What I am going to, this is my reality. Na jayate priyate va kadachit ayam bhutva na bhavito na bhuyaha ajo nitya saswatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamahasiti. I am neither born nor gone. Na bhuto na bhavito na bhavyaha. Since I am not, it's not I have a past and I have a present and I have a future and I am always there. So all that, a relative understanding, a Shraddha, that is why Shraddha. Bhagavan's Vakya, you must have the Shraddha. Yes, that is my reality, that is where I want to get to. Then you have to develop all these values. Whatever is needed to be done to get there, to get that relative freedom, you will do. Your life, your daily living will revolve around these values, getting one by one, so that you are able to have that relative freedom. Then you are able to study, and then you are able to understand one of your reality. So back and forth, we have to keep doing it. Purva Apara, that's what Shastra says. Always you must know what has gone by, what is going to come. You must have a wholesome understanding of what this whole Shastra is all about. Then only you will have a value for it. Otherwise, it will look like, okay, if I am not having, it may look like it, by being like this, I will have a relative, I will be able to get along well with the society. That is one way of looking at it, relative freedom. But we are not looking for that. That is definitely it will help. Even in an office, if you are not a humble person, people like it. Don't you are done overplaying your role, people like it. But that is all only relative, corollary benefit, auxiliary benefit. But that is what we are not looking. We are looking for an internal freedom where really I am able to see freedom is my essence of life. That is where we are. That is where it becomes more important to put it. Be alert to this, and very small and big moments in life, you must be able to live it. Living the learning. It is very important. Yeah.
Krodha. Krodha is anger. Because you are not able to accomplish something, there is an anguish born of disappointment. This anguish can develop into Krodha, anger. Once a person is overcome by anger, he forgets all that he knows about what is to be done and what is not to be done, and will repeat the same actions that brought him such dire consequences before. His behavior is destructive not only to himself but to others. We have seen this in detail earlier.
Yeah, we have done it before.
Yeah. Padushya is the opposite of Mardava, softness in speaking, and so on. It is harshness in speech, talking in a manner that is hurtful to others, especially with sarcasm or a derisive laughter. Shankara says it is calling someone who has one eye or any other defect beautiful. This criticism in the form of sarcasm hurts people.
Sarcasm hurts people. Yeah.
Using words without any sensitivity for the damage they can do is parushya. That is why we pray every day, Jiva me madhumattama.
Jihva me madhumattama.
Jihva me madhumattama.
There it comes. Jihva me madhumattama karnabhyam bhuri vishru. That Shikshavali in Taittiriya Upanishad. There it comes. Yes chandasam vrishabho vishwarupaha chandabhyo amartasam babuva amartasya deva dharano bhuyasam shariram me vishachanam jihva me madhumattama karnabhyam bhuri vishvam sumeda medayoskumatu brahmanakosho shimedeya pihitaha sutam me kopaya. என்னெல்லாம் நான் படிச்சேனோ அதெல்லாம் ஞாபகத்துக்கு இருக்கட்டும் அப்படிலாம் வேண்டிக்கிறோம். So all that comes. Let me speak nice words plus pleasing words to others. Very important value.
Actually, I read it without understanding.
Yeah, that is true. All our Sudram, Chamakam and Pulsasaktam, Narayana Saktam has the whole Vedanta. Only that we have to understand that Sabda Manjari or what you call Mantra Pushpam. The Mantra Pushpam, lot of this, actually what they have done is, they have taken only very, very, very important things and put them together. In all of India, Upasthana Mantram and Puja Upasthana Mantram and all, everywhere one couplet will be there, which is reflecting these values. They have put it together, they have taken care in the olden days. At least half an hour, let them say all these things. But one day at least you will look at it, what it is all about. When you have the leisure, you will try to find out. That is what they thought. But we don't do it, that's a different thing. But all put together like that, Prasthana Mantram and also Purvangamam. What is after the puja, what is before the puja, what is in between. They have sandwiched all couplets. They are all very meaningful. If you look at them, you will understand most of the...
Okay. Ajnana. Ajnana means an understanding that is without proper discrimination. Ignorance is not a problem, but the conclusions that are distorted with reference to right and wrong wreak havoc. Unethical behavior is justified as, for example, pragmatic business practice. This is what we call moral decay. It is all due to the pressure to have money based on the wrong conclusion that money will provide security. It is one thing to find yourself doing things that you wish you could avoid, but it is quite another to make a philosophy out of it. This is what is meant by ajnana here. It is not simple ignorance, but a false perception attributing to something a value which does not possess, like seeing security where there is no security at all. First, there is a confusion of value, and then naturally, dharma, adharma, aviveka, a confusion of priorities. The Atma and Atma Aviveka Confusion with reference to Atma and Anatma can also be called Ajnana. But since we are talking about Asuras, here we are not dealing with Atma, Anatma, Ajnana, but with Ajnana with reference to Dharma and Adharma. These are the qualities of someone who has the wealth of an Asura, Asuri Sampat. In the next verse, Krishna talks about the lot of the two types of people, those who have the wealth of a Deva or spiritual wealth, and those who have the wealth of an Asura. Verse 5. Daivi Sampat leads to moksha and Asuri Sampat leads to bondage. Daivi Sampat Vimokshaya Nibandaya Surimata Ma Suchas Sampatam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava. Daivi Sampat, the spiritual wealth, Vimokshaya is for freedom, Asuri, the wealth of an Asura, Nibandaya is for bondage, Mata is considered to be Pandava, O son of Pandu, Ma Suchaha, do not grieve, Daivim Sampadam, the spiritual wealth, Abhijataha Asi, you are born to.
Spiritual wealth is considered for freedom, the wealth of an Asura for bondage. Pandava, Arjuna, do not grieve, you are born to the spiritual wealth. The accomplishments of a Deva, Daivi Sampat, are for the purpose of freeing oneself moksha.
Yeah, this is what I was telling. The objective is this, not to have a good opinion in the society. It's for our own growth to have a proper understanding, freedom as my reality. That understanding, for that, this is only a stepping stone. Yeah.
The prefix V here is for emphasis. Nobody wants to be free from something that is desirable. Freedom implies bondage, without which there is no freedom. What is the bondage? This bondage. It can be physical, it can also be emotional. There are things that I cannot leave. Even though I think that I have them, in fact, they have me. In the beginning, perhaps, I held them, but in time they begin to hold me. In a prison, though you are physically bound, you need not feel bound. The entire physical world, including your own physical body, mind and senses, should not be able to bind you. The freedom you are seeking is from original bondage. The notion I am bound, expressing as I am wanting, I am limited, I am mortal, I am other than Ishvara. The moment you see yourself as different from anything, there is fear and a sense of bondage. The one who sees no division is free, not only from fear, but from everything. The moksha you are seeking here is not any relative moksha within samsara that will only last for some time, but moksha from samsara.
Yeah, see, that is what we have discussed this before also. Udaram antaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Even if a small difference is there, where you feel restricted, once you call yourself, no, this is my house, then the entire world is not your place. So you are afraid. Once you call it my house, what is outside is big always. It's going to be vast. Whatever, however big your house is, what is outside space is always going to be vast. So naturally you will have to guard. So the fear will be there. But once you don't look at it, okay, this is a place I am there for the time being, for the benefit of the family stay and all that, it's fine. But you should not, that is why, Ashaktihi anabhishwangaha putradhara grahadishu. You must not think that it is mine. Me, my body, myself, my family, puts yourself under fear immediately. Once you do that, you are under fear. That's what he says. So that we are looking at the freedom from not from a relative fear, but total. That is why nothing I am going to look at it as is me, myself, and all that. But the thing is, in the Ishvara's Srishti, I am playing my part. That's it. That sort of an alert attitude. That is the freedom, ultimate freedom we are looking for. That's what he says.
The Daivi Sampat is the basis for jnana, that is moksha. The Asuri Sampat, on the other hand, is meant for bondage. It does not create bondage because the notion of bondage already exists. But with these characteristics of Asuri Sampat, the bondage is perpetuated. To get released from samsara, we require Devi Sampad, but to remain in it, we require Asuri Sampad.
Yeah, basically all of us are born with all these things. Like my body, this is my house, my parents, etc. These are all very natural. But over a period of as we grow, we must be able to get out of that. That is Devi Sampad. And you should not do to reinforce that. You aggravate it so much that it becomes attached ego value to all that and make it firm and firm, then it's called Asuri Sampad. Bondage all of us are born with. That is why we are born. We have to move away from that rather than reinforcing it. But
Though it is not mentioned, Sankara includes Rajasi Sampad in his commentary. A Rajasa is someone from whom you have to protect things, your belongings, self-respect, children, your very life, and even your punya. Someone who does not even allow you to perform good actions is called a Rakshasa. Rakshasi Sampad is not really much different from Asuri Sampad, so only Asuri Sampad is discussed here. Whenever we make divisions like this, people wonder to which category they belong. The self-judgment is our natural tendency.
this is another problem. Where once we say Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, we will start talking in terms of you are more Sattva, I am less Sattva, all that. And people, Swamiji always used to say the Upadhi, the body is a Upadhi. Once you say, people come and tell him, Swamiji, your Upadhi is very good, my Upadhi is bad. Even though I understand what you say, so you become so attached to the Upadhi more than what you were earlier, now that you are aware of it. So it's all, there's a problem, no? The language, you have to, time and again, you have to neglect the limitations of the language and you must understand the Tatparya. What is being, we have to understand. That is why understanding is important, not knowledge of words and meanings. That is why it is not Pandithyam. It is not knowledge and information. It is understanding of your life. That is how we have to look at. Yeah.
This self-judgment is our natural tendency. Arjuna may have been the same. To reassure him, Krishna says here, Ma Suchaha, do not grieve, worry. If we analyze ourselves, we all find that we have some Daivi Sampad and some Asuri Sampad. Arjuna is no exception. Krishna does not want him to entertain any doubt about his qualifications, and so he tells him, you are born to Daivi Sampad. And in addressing him as Pandava, he reminds him that he is the son of Pandu, a great man, and hence all the virtues of a Deva which equip him for moksha. Now Krishna is going to continue to talk about Asuri Sampad. The portions that are coming are very relevant to modern thinking, especially the whole corporate mentality and market psychology. The corporate mentality is expressed here as, today I got this, tomorrow I will get that. And the psychology of the market is how to convince someone to part with his money. All that is being discussed.
That's what Swamiji always, he tells us in the front of so many donors who are all industrialists. In front of them he tells, all are corporate asuras. That is how, so, in the sense, everyone, nobody will object, honestly. When he expresses, when they describe, most of them, they really had a good conversion in their minds. All the big shots and all whom Swamiji used to read. No, it helps to improve the society, how the thinking and all that. Very important.
Verse 6. Two types of beings, the divine and the adharmic. Dvau bhuta sargau loke asmin daiva asura. Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura evacha. Daivo vistarasha prokta asuram partha me shrunu. Asmin loke, in this world, dvau bhuta sargau. There are two types of created beings, Daivaha, those that belong to the Devas, Asura Evacha, and those that belong to the Asuras, Partha, O Partha, Daivaha, that belong to the Devas, Vistarasaha, extensively. Vistarasaha, extensively, Proktaha was told, Asuram, the characteristics belonging to the Asuras, may Shrunu, listen to me. In this world, there are two types of created beings, the divine and the adharmic. The divine has been extensively spoken of. Listen to me, Partha, Arjuna, about the characteristics belonging to the Asuras. In this world, the created beings referred to here, Shankara says, are human beings, those who are subject to karma and look upon themselves as doers and enjoyers. In other words, the jivas. Of these, there are two types, those endowed with divine virtues and those with the attributes belonging to the Asuras. As Shankara presents it, some of them are born with these qualities because, according to the Shruti, those who are born of Prajapati are twofold, the Devas and the Asuras. Footnote: Dvayaha Prajapatya Devascha Asurascha. Brihadaranyaka.
See, there it says, some of us are born with that asura tendency because of the papa karma in our account. So you will have that because the papa karma in your account is so high that you are born as an asura or with krodha buddhi or like instead of being born as a tiger or something, you will be born as a human being with a tiger buddhi. So that it's all nonsense. You can say it's part of the prarabdha, but you can get validated. Okay, what to do? I was born like that, but you don't have to be like that. That is, fortunately, you are born as a human being. You are not born as a tiger. So you can evolve. You can ensure that if you are living an alert life from Asura to Devi Sampat, you can graduate. That is called growth. Okay, you may not become Jnani or something, but at least growing. Next time around, you will be able to grow further. The growth past is important, not what you are born with. So the prarabdha, no point in blaming. Okay, prarabdha gives you a situation. But how you respond to that situation is there. Further, there is a freedom in a human being. Kartum sakyam, akartum sakyam, anyatava. That freedom is there. The freedom to choose to know, to not to do, dharma, viveka, all those things. The freedom is there. That is a big blessing. Some punyam is there. That is why you are born. Even though a lot of prapa might have been there in your account, some punyam also is there. Together only you are born as a human being. That is why human beings are called Mishras. Born of both punya and prapa. Mixture. Mishra means mixture. In North India, a lot of surname is called Mishra. Actually, mixture of Punya and Papa only. That is why Mishra. Yeah.
Wherever. There are two sets. Shankara presents it. Since the beginning, these two types have been here. And we do see that from birth, some people show certain tendencies. Of these two, the qualities of a Deva have been explained. Now Krishna is going to give a detailed description of the characteristics of an Asura, and he says to Arjuna, listen to me, me shrunu. Generally, when we draw someone's attention like this, it is to say something positive. Why should Krishna invite Arjuna to listen to this description of all the Asuri qualities? Shankara says, it is for the purpose of avoiding those very qualities. It is as important to know the don'ts as the do's here. Till the end of this chapter, the Asuri Sampat is going to be detailed and nothing else, because it is possible to give up these attributes only when they are very clearly known. Therefore, there is an elaborate description of them starting in the next verse.
So, what they say, no, normally, that Kalavum Katru Mara, it is very important. Kalavum Katru Mara, you must know also what you want to have to avoid in life. It is also equally important. Not enough to know that knowledge muttu terinja poradhu. Yeah. You want to read it now or you want to
We'll
take it
stop
tomorrow?
here. We'll stop here.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Purnamudapurnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.